What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We are your hosts, the Distorted Theorists, and we are here tonight to talk about Linkin Park's new vocalist, Emily Armstrong.
No!
We're not?
No, we just came out of
that's right.
Beetlejuice at Cineplex right here in St. John's, Newfoundland.
I suppose that could be what we're here to talk about. But yes, but before we get into our review of Beetlejuice, we want to take a moment to ask anyone to subscribe, to like, to share, comment, do all the things. I can't do any more things with my hands. Justin, take it away.
Well, we're here to talk about Beetlejuice, but you can't get to Beetlejuice without the original, which was what, 35 years ago?
1988, 1989?
Ooh, man, it's been a minute. And well, it had us worried a little bit. We've been seeing the trailers and whatever. We were worried, like, why? Why were they giving us this movie? And I think that this one we just watched, yeah, I know, but like,
someone has a mortgage.
Someone has to come up with a story that's going to make sense, because you don't want to turn people away from the old one. How do you think they did capturing the old magic, so to speak?
It is a Beetlejuice sequel. It is a Tim Burton
movie.
True. Yeah, but you know what? Like, it's not something that I found, like, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the movie. True to Tim Burton, there was nothing in there that was like, I don't really think that this is a Tim Burton film. It was definitely a Tim Burton. Visuals, humor, the style of it was perfect. The music, Danny Elfman obviously is going to be making the score for it.
And for anyone who's still watching, obviously we're trying to be super spoiler free, but you talked about the visuals. I thought, 35 years later, we would see these new CGI scenes, whatever. No. But as someone who watched Beetlejuice in its entirety very recently, the practical effects, I'll call them, or effects in general, were pretty much reused almost to the T. I mean, the sandworms and the face, grotesqueness and everything was literally felt like you would step from Beetlejuice to Beetlejuice.
And the man himself, Michael Keaton, again, there's more screen time in this for Beetlejuice than there was. There's only, I think, 15 minutes of Beetlejuice in the first movie. There's a bit more of him in this. This time around, instead of just the singular storyline, there is a couple of storylines that they intertwine. There's one that has been shown. I'm not going to get into which one it is, and it does resolve, but it only served one purpose throughout the entire thing.
I think it's the one that kept him moving.
Yes.
I think we're on the same page.
And I was like, why is this happening?
I was a little confused as well.
And that was it. So it was kind of...
And the payoff, if we're going to be critical, as we should be, the payoff for that, what I think it was not even worth the time.
It served as a distraction, which led to the climax of the movie. That was it.
But, the musical numbers, there was a couple beats that brought us back to the first one. There was a couple new ones. Again, being a little critical.
Yeah, Danny Elfman is perfect for Tim Burton.
But they had a couple musical numbers that I wish was a little more catchy, maybe just because I don't know the music itself. But comedy, I felt, was super on point. A lot of the, again, effects mixed with the grotesque comedy. You were pointing at things. I was in there like, that's a callback. That's a callback. And I mean, you've watched it probably more than I have. Yeah. So I'm just wondering how you
like for in terms of returning folks to this movie, we've got Winona Ryder, obviously Michael Keaton. And we've got
newcomer Jenna Ortega.
Well, Jenna Ortega, but I'm trying. Oh my God,
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara. Jeez.
Who is gorgeous, by the way. Still,
Moira.
Still hit me off.
Moira Rose.
Once my wife gives me permission.
Okay. Anyway, but then we've got newcomer Jenna Ortega, who's not really a newcomer anymore. To Tim Burton, she is. To her, obviously, she made her appearance in Wednesday, which I'm sure definitely
played a part, 100%. But I feel like she was a perfect casting choice. On the whole, as someone who could just be inserted into this franchise and be very socially accepted, I think, right off the rip. Because
and we've got Monica Bellucci, and we've got Willem Dafoe, who I love Willem Dafoe. I've recently found out we've been saying his name wrong. It's Willem Dafoe.
Okay. But I do, not even a spoiler, it's something he says in the movie repeatedly, was, if you stick around to all of our videos, at the end especially, he said,
you gotta keep it real.
He kept saying, keep it real. And he was doing the fingers. Like, we do this. I don't know. I was like, I grabbed Peter. I was like, what is going on?
I'd like to think that Mr. Dafoe,
he's seen our videos.
I was like, I'm gonna use this.
Obviously.
I gotta lock in with this.
Well, I mean, we should have stayed.
Do you know how much I sacrificed? Do you know how much I sacrificed?
We should have stayed till the end of the movie just to see if the Distorted Theorists.
Yeah, like little things, a little just on the bottom.
Like I said, I'm someone, I fully admit that the first I've only watched Beetlejuice in its entirety, start to finish, very recently. I've seen bits and dribs and drabs, when it come on our television stations, you jump in the middle, whatever. This is, in my opinion, a true sequel. I felt like the story was more streamlined. You could follow it a lot better. It held its purpose. It served its purpose, but it still give you those characters and those callbacks, as I said, that you enjoy from the first one.
And yeah, like like I said before, it's not one of those sequels that like we're following up Infinity War with Endgame.
Right.
It's not one of those ones where we're very deep into the film.
Right.
It's a sequel to a cult classic that came out over 30 years ago that didn't do too hot in theaters at the times because it was misunderstood.
Yeah.
The name of the movie, the person that it's about, was only showed up for very little, which is like very Hannibal Lecter.
Which left people probably confused, like you said.
Right, but the character of Lydia and the character of Beetlejuice have become these icons over forever. You see people staining their faces and making it look like broccoli and having the triangular cut bangs.
Like I said, a Halloween classic as well, just the couples costumes or whatever. And we did have a few people dressed as Beetlejuice, etc., at our showing, which is really cool to see because you know that they're very passionate. But Peter, it brings us to the end of the review where I need your opinion and rating on what you thought of this sequel years later.
In terms of everything, like as much as I enjoyed it, but if I'm going to put it as a non-biased reaction, I got to give it like around a 7. It wasn't something that was like, oh, this is like the cinematography is on this one.
Yeah.
In terms of making
it's
me
just
happy,
not that kind of film.
Well, like in terms of a biased review,
right?
I would say it would be closer to an 8 or a 9. But in terms of a non-biased, looking at all the different factors of it, I have to give it around a 7. Still enjoyable. Come see it. It's a great movie.
Oh, 100%. And like I said, coming off the heels of watching Beetlejuice in its entirety, I repeat myself, but now coming to see this one, I honestly, again, as an unbiased review, I don't know if either one is better than the other for me. One is a cult classic. It will always be a cult classic. People will always put it on a pedestal that it may or may not deserve. But I feel like this one just gets on the pedestal with it. I'm going to say 6.5.
Yeah, I think it was a worthy sequel.
Yeah.
No,
100%.
If you enjoyed the first one, you're going to enjoy this one.
Exactly. So get out to the theaters and see it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for our non-spoiler review of Beetlejuice here on opening night in St. John's at Cineplex. As always, if you want to support the channel, and we do appreciate it, if you would just take a second to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and if you've seen the movie or want to see it, leave us a comment down below what you thought. No review is going to be disregarded. And with that, I am the real Jussy.
I am Willem Dafoe's muse, and like we always say around here,
keep it real.